Hey everybody, this is my 10-gallon living room tank, and it has been quite a while since I've been in here and done any maintenance on it. This is one of those out of sight, out of mind kind of tanks. But tonight we're going to get in here and do a simple water change. Excuse me. I'm going to change out the filter, and I'll probably wipe down the front glass. It doesn't really need it below the water line, but you can see up above the water line where the water's evaporated out of the tank. It's kind of grungy. So if it looks like that above the water line, then it probably won't hurt to just clean the front glass all the way down. So that's about it. Not going to be a big, complicated video or project or anything like that. Just giving you a moment to look at it, what it looks like before. And there's your after. So as I said, not a lot to talk about, just a simple water change. I did wipe the glass down, and it had considerably more algal growth on it than I was expecting. It was a lot more cruddy than I thought, and it wasn't just, grunge that builds up over time. It actually was green spotted algae growing on the glass, so I was able to get in there and wipe all that down. I did change the little filter pad. Of course, this has a little filter that's meant for a 10-gallon tank, so it really doesn't circulate a lot of water, but this tank is so lightly stocked it doesn't really need it. So again, not much to see, not much to talk about. I'm going to wrap this video short, but I am going to do a bonus for you. I'm going to change the water in my wife's tank in the other room, and we will go ahead and do a twofer, and we'll attach that right to the back of this video, so you'll get to see a before and after of that one too. So this one here is my 10-gallon living room tank. It's one of my more simplistic and lightly stocked tanks. And that's about all there is to say about it. So give me a second and I will see you in the other room and we'll do a water change on that other tank. Hey everybody, this is my wife's tank, and right now we are getting ready to do some maintenance on it. I'm going to do a simple water change, filter change, and hopefully I'm going to find out why the light on the left hand side of the hood keeps going out. Sometimes it's lit, sometimes it's not. I don't know if it's the bulb or the fixture or what. But right now we're only running on one light, so I'm going to see what I can do about that. Otherwise, there's not going to be a lot going on. I did pick up a rubber lip pleco. They're currently, I got two of them, and they're currently downstairs in my quarantine tank. They both have ick on them. For some reason, the rubber lip plecos, along with neon tetras, are very, very frequently infected with ick when they come home from the fish store. Don't know why that is, but it always seems to be the case. So I always quarantine my rubber lips, and fortunately in this case I was wise to do so because they do indeed have ick on them. So once I get that cleared up, I'm going to get them into this tank and we'll do a chemi-clean treatment, and that'll get rid of all that grunge and stuff you can see growing on the leaves. And once we get that beaten back, then the rubber lip will stay on top of keeping it clean once we get it there. But getting ahead of myself right now, tonight all we're going to be doing is a simple water change. So there's your before, and there's your after. So big difference on this tank. We didn't see a whole lot of difference between the before and after on my living room tank, but between getting the light working on this one again and getting that front glass cleared off, we made a huge difference in this one. But otherwise, I didn't do a whole lot. All I did was change out the filter, which on these little tanks are just hang on the back filters, so it's simply, take the pad off and stick a new little filter pad on there. No big deal, it just takes a few moments. I use the same material to wipe down the glass that I use in the filters. And so the whole process only takes 15 minutes total. And I honestly spend more time walking back and forth with jugs of water to fill the tank back up than I do actually working on the tank or really doing anything. It just takes a few minutes for the water to drain into a bucket. And while that's happening, I'm wiping the glass down, and before it's even finished, I've already gotten to and taken care of the filter. And then all I got to do is dump the bucket out and, again, make some trips back and forth with a jug. I never use the same jugs that I use for my drains, my drainage jugs or buckets or whatever. I don't use them to refill tanks. I have separate containers that I use for filling tanks as I do for draining tanks. That way it doesn't matter what tank it comes from. If it's my waste bucket, it's just waste. I'm not going to transmit anything from one tank to another by dumping waste into the same bucket. And then when I'm going around filling the tanks, it's the same way. I'm not transferring water from one tank to another. The container that I use to fill these tanks is always just being filled up by the faucet in the bathtub, where I get a big, flow of water. I can fill it quickly, and then I bring it to whatever tank I'm bringing it to and fill the tank up. So once again, there's no question of cross-contaminating the tanks or anything like that. So as far as the light goes, I don't have any idea what's going on with it, but I sort of struggled to get the hood off. If you're familiar with the standard aquarium hood, it's got the little door on the front, and then in the back section it's got a piece of glass, and the hood with the light in it comes off so you can change the lights. And in the process of me trying to sort of jiggle the hood part off, the light came back on. So I did pull the hood all the way off and check to make sure there's no burn marks or anything unusual looking in there. And I jiggled everything around. I tried screwing the bulb in to make sure it was nice and tight. And I didn't see anything that was obvious, but clearly something's going on to make that bulb, come on and off intermittently. Now, I will also say it is an older LED. It's they call them corn cob, where it's like a column of LEDs, like in a, well, it looks like it's sort of a corn cob, and every little kernel of corn would be an LED, so it shines out in all directions, and it's one of the earlier versions of their attempts to reproduce a standard, 360-degree light bulb. They've come a long way since then, but that could simply be what's going on. I could have one of those shoddy, low-budget Chinese-made bulbs that I put in there for, $10 or something 2 years ago, and it's just the bulb itself is bad. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Everything's all circuit protected and everything, so it's not like I'm going to have a short and the hood of my aquarium is going to catch on fire or anything like that. The worst case scenario is it'll short out and pop a breaker, or the light will stop working altogether and I'll have to replace it or something. So I'm not concerned about it, but it is kind of annoying, and I wish it would just stay on the whole time. And on a last note, now that we've got some light shining in the tank and we can really see in there a little bit, all that crud you can see growing on that rock, you can see it growing on the leaves. That's a mixture of all kinds of stuff. That's got some cyanobacteria in it, I'm sure. You can see by that sort of reddish color, that gives it away that it's got some cyanobacteria in it. But it's a mixture of all kinds of stuff growing in there. And the ChemiClean treatment that we will be doing on this stuff will take care of all that. That's what I was talking about in the before part of this video, is getting all that grunge cleaned up. And I'm probably at some point going to have to get in there and get on the back glass where that Java moss is attached. And I've got Java moss growing all over the back glass. And that stuff will take over the tank and eat everything eventually. You can even see there's little patches of it growing here and there where I've ripped it out, but you don't get it all, and it starts coming back in short order. So I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on how much Java moss this tank accumulates now that we've got a lot of light back in here again. So make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss the ChemiClean treatment we're going to be doing on this tank real soon. I am actually doing one on my gourami tank downstairs at the moment, and when that treatment is finished, I'll bring the airstone and everything up here to this tank, and we'll do a treatment on this tank too. So make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss that or anything else. And don't forget, this one here is my wife's tank. So thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you real soon in the next one.